Good morning, YouTube's nation. This is Zephyl, and today we begin a series of videos designed for beginner players to DC Universe Online. We start with the Hardlight controller. Controlling allows you to supply power or to replenish the power of your teammates, but more importantly, it allows you to manage the battlefield using stuns, roots, and applying several effects that will stack for the tanks and for the healers, primarily for the tanks and the DPS. Now, visualization is the most important stat for a controller. Here we see is that increase the healing power, healing effects. Basically means that you will get more power back when you do your power over time or pot. The second most important stat for a controller would be dominance. Dominance, it affects the duration of your control, your stuns, your roots, your levitations, your control effects, but it is dependent on your opponent's willpower, which is kind of cute for a Green Lantern. It's like, my will is the greatest in the universe, therefore you will be stunned by my light claws. But you need to have a high dominance so you'll be able to stun bosses, sub-bosses, instead of just the normal red shirts that run around in the game. Now, of course, health is important for everyone. We need to have power in order to give back power. You don't want to skimp on any of these, but end of the day, your VIT and your dominance, people are not going to ask you so much what your dominance is, they're going to ask the tank. They're always going to ask, oh, what's your VIT? This is respectable. Now, going over to the power menu, first let me now nanoweave armor and powerful resistance. Controllers don't have to have those. Since because of my weapon I use shield, I'm going to be in the mixed of combat a lot more than if I had a ranged weapon primary power. This helps me to survive longer. For a controller, you're going to need to have intimidating gaze. That gives us 40 plus 40 dominance, and then the wisdom of Solomon that gives us plus 75 VIT and plus 125 power. Now, in the support tree, as a Hardlight controller, you're going to really rely on 3 central powers. Recharge. This allows you to instantly give back power. So during a big boss battle, you could probably be like hitting that periodically. But one of the nice things about Hardlight, you have 2 options for power over time. Impact, which will also stun an opponent. This allows you to be at a range from your opponents, hit them with the train, and your group will get power over time. But we began with only having light claws. Light claws, you get in up close and personal. You also can do the daze effects. You also can panic targets, but you're up close. If they hit, they're going to do like a big attack. You may be kind of like running around to avoid it, and then you have people crying for power. So if you're doing a raid or big team combat, you should probably be using impact more often than light claws. But besides these powers, Spike Quake will daze, Ram will stun, Whip Thrash, this is one of my personal favorites. I use this not only because of the daze, but because it runs down, it wears down the enemy's resistance. Reduce the enemy's defenses. I try to, when I get up close with a boss, I do that so that the rest of the team can hit him a lot harder. Ballistic Assault. This is the hard light helicopter, Apache helicopters. I prefer this over Strafing Run primarily because I can pop this a lot more often than people can pop Strafing Run. So in a prolonged dungeon crawl, I'm going to be hitting this more often, and I've found myself to do more damage over time by going with the Ballistic Assault. Now, going back to the support tree, Boxing Glove, have to have this because it starts the tree. The daze enemies, that's a nice effect. I rarely use it in my day-to-day rotation. Group shielding. This is something that I use in big group content for bosses. This also is another way to give them power over time, but it also helps to mitigate some damage. This is a big group attack, Grasping Hands. It makes them vulnerable to some of the other effects of my teammates, and it counts as a debuff. Light Blast is one of my favorite. It reduces enemy defenses like Whip Thrash, but you do it from a range. It's a 25%er as well, and it hits a lot of targets on the battlefield. Now, let's talk a little bit about the pass. In the past, we used to have these hard light combos where you would clip, or give me 1 second, break the animation. After a recent game update, we can no longer do that. So this selection, which I have now, this is my day-to-day. I am not a fan of clipping. All right, let's also jump real quick so you can see the skills tree. As we saw earlier, I have 82 skill points, and apologize, went the wrong way. Only one I put in flight was for supersonic. These are on my list of, to spin: restraint resistant, restraint recovery, breakout mastery, stun resistant, stun recovery. I usually have those for my tanks, but they're good for everybody. Now, with the weaponries, as I said, I prefer to get up in melee distance. That means you have to be more aware of the battlefield. Hard light, you have the flexibility of being either ranged or melee. Beginners, I would recommend starting out as ranged until you get a feel of it and get a rotation going of your own. Because I'm melee, I spend a lot of points in things like hell, which the average controller, well, the health dominance, you're going to want to have that. Power Vit, and I have Might. Going down to the two-handed, Vit, Health, Might, Dominance. And right now, I don't remember my third tree. DPS is damage per second. I have armory, so I have like a specific DPS build that I use, which if there's a request, I will show that as well. But I prefer playing my role because it's more beneficial to the team, and it's good to know how to do your primary role. Okay, well, that about covers it for this video. It's just really just showing you what I've used for Hard Light to get to tier 6. But the most important thing is to have fun. This is a game, and you can play it your way. Yes, the combinations, and you can go into different combos, but it's the fun factor. If you, I mean, Omar's Hard Light Guide is still probably one of the best ones out there. You can find that by searching Hard Light on the forums. But this is one thing I will say about Hard Light controlling versus munitions controlling. Hard Light, you have a lot of single target. Alright, munitions is a new part. They're probably going to nerf it soon just to make it comparable, because playing my munitions controller, I can hurt a lot more people. But still, Hard Light is my go-to because of the combinations, because it's Hard Light, and because going through the various levels of content. Sorry, I was thinking contact when I was saying content. It's given me versatility so that I can change up according to the dungeon. Alright, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.